So tonight's presentation is Precision Marketing for Real Estate Investors, brought to you by Investor Dealflow. Now I know what the first question is. What the hell is Investor Dealflow? The answer is, it's a new year, and I thought, let's start yet another business entity that I can run. Basically, Investor Dealflow is the same marketing agency I was running with a new subdivision that is specifically for scaling real estate investors. And the reality is, from a fulfillment standpoint, the strategies are nothing more than what I was doing for any other small business, just specifically applied for those acquiring properties to either wholesale, buy and hold, flip, dispo any way they particularly like. So, we are partnered with a few new entities here. Inkblot Consulting, that is actually Missy. She is the designer, she is the creative mastermind, she is the project manager of this whole thing. That's actually her business she started as well. Missy is another prototypical fire your boss type of person. Having become unemployable last year, which is one of my favorite qualities about a person that walks into our sphere of influence. So as a real estate marketing agency, we're a little new, but we've already got some nice client success stories here. A couple people in this room, actually. In fact, one person in this room owns two of these entities up there, Mr. Guadalupe, because he can't just do something once, he has to do it twice.
Well done for us, too.
Right. These are a couple.
Which ones?
Well, I'm going to start with Glen Guadalupe Real Estate, is the obvious one, and then Proform Construction Group. And the reason I'm showing these examples is because each one has their own success story and particular use cases for why they were successful in different stages. You've got, WeBuyAnyHouseFast.com, formerly known American Dream Realty, located in Levittown. They're a volume property acquisition company with multiple exit strategies and dispos. Then you got people like My First Flip Now, which is our friends who's not here, Joe Patterson, right? Joe Pat. So Joe Pat's a remodeler and a flipper himself, and what he did, we helped him create a community to then create more deals, right? He does a lot of stuff outside of the traditional paid media and advertising strategies and does it pretty much strictly on community building with that brand. So he wants people who want to do flips. They haven't done flips yet. They want to know how. They got some money to invest in a flip. They want to put it somewhere. So they go to Joe. He does the remodeling. They flip. They profit. They rinse and they repeat. It's like an isolated burr, I guess you could call it. And then some of our partners. These are partners that are, you can see, pretty big ass vendors here. So we leverage all of them. We got Print Genie for direct mail, for list building and skip tracing. Then we use the lists we build and do mailing from there to do, we pump them into a CRM. We run strategic Google and Facebook ads, meta ads. We do it on Instagram too. And then we got Brevo for email marketing, and we put it all together. I'll get into the why. And who is Investor Dealflow? Well, that is us. That is myself. This is a joint venture between myself and Missy, who is the founder and CEO of Inkblot Consulting. She was acting a little humble during her introduction, but her 10 years of real estate marketing experience is literally the only reason this entire thing exists. I came from small business marketing, ran a car dealership, their marketing for a while, and all sorts of different industries. And that's really, when it comes down to it, it's why I love marketing, is because I do chase a lot of things. I probably have a little touch of the ADHD. So running just one business probably wouldn't be good enough for me. So I like to build all of them. I like to build all the businesses. I like to make my money by making you money, by making you money, by making you money. It makes me feel good. And I get to dip my toes in a little bit of everything, while also acting as a fiduciary for a client's marketing budget and making sure every single dollar is not a wasted click and it goes towards the goal of conversions. Conversions in the funnel, whether it's getting somebody into the funnel or converting them at the end stage. That's always going to be my goal. My other stuff, Fire Your Boss podcast. Available on YouTube, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to your podcasts. All right, So why did we do this? How did we end up getting 6 or 7 clients in the past year in real estate strictly on referrals? Because we saw a few problems that existed in every one of these businesses that I had taken that solution I had implemented for countless other small businesses works the same way. So a few of the challenges is that you've got targeting that's just inefficient. You got spraying and praying. It's putting ads out there that have the wrong message and or messages to the wrong people at the wrong time. You've got a whole bunch of vendors who promise you the world. And Pete, we just talked about this at the right before we were talking about your academy. Or you had asked me about SEO. Well, all the SEO vendors, you know what they think is the magic bullet? SEO, because they want to sell you SEO. And I got a whole soapbox presentation about my feelings on SEO. It's for another time. But again, a pay-per-click agency, who does strictly that? Their magic bullet's pay-per-click. The web design agency, this website will get you all the leads you need. Investor Carrot, they're a good example of one. Cookie cutter website, they all look the same. It doesn't give you any sort of value proposition one over the other. Doesn't generate you any traffic unless you send traffic to it. How do you send traffic to it? You buy ads, you do social media, a little bit of SEO. It's all got to be put together. Otherwise, you will not get the conversions. Market saturation. And I have 2 very distinct opinions about market saturation. One, it means that it's good to be in. That means that there's a demand. Saturation means there's a demand. So you don't have to test that theory out. You don't have to test out a minimum viable product or solution. You know people want what you have to offer. Now, we kind of flip the narrative in real estate because we're doing acquiring for the most part. Yeah, we sell and dispo our properties. Eventually, even if you're buy and hold, it's going somewhere at some point. But the goal is acquisitions at this point. Nevertheless, there's a demand for it. There's a need for it. So saturation is a good thing. What's not good is not having a unique solution to stand out from everybody else who's doing the exact same thing. What do? All you got to do is be 10% better, 10% more efficient, and you'll stand above the rest. And we're going to show you how to do that. So our solution, we got a tagline. It's niche down, stand out, connect better, grow faster. All right, it's flashy. It's marketing speak. We do it.
Say it again. You went quick there.
Niche down.
Niche down.
The camera. Niche down, stand out, connect better, and grow faster.
Stand down. So you're going to go through these?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the overall theme. Every slide theoretically supports those 4 bullet points. So I do have a couple of niche down slides, but connecting better and growing faster, that's like literally the second half of the presentation. I do a lot of synergistic, self-referential, and cycle-based marketing and retargeting. And my word salads that come out in my presentations kind of do the same thing, where slide number 19 will refer to slide number 2 at some point, but there's reasons for that. It's mixing data, both predictive and actual data, historical data, with creativity, and putting it together with a solution that somebody actually needs, and then hitting that target audience at the right points in that funnel. All right, perfect example. A lot of any wholesaler knows about the foreclosure list or even pre-foreclosure. Worst thing you can do is walk up to somebody who just missed their 3rd mortgage payment and go, "I'm going to buy your house for 40% of market value." No, they're going to tell you to F off. There's too much emotions involved there. That's their home. You just gave them an insulting offer. Now, if they're standing there at the sheriff's sale about ready to lose their home, and you come in and make them an offer, create a financing solution, maybe even at that stage they just need the cash, they need to liquidate that asset, you're hitting the right person with the right message at that time, right? Does that make sense? Prerequisites to make this whole thing work. Pretty low barrier to entry for all this stuff right now, and this is industry agnostic, meaning any business in any industry should have the very basics of some sort of website or landing page. You don't have to have an Amazon.com, but you need to have a something.com with something to display and a way for people to reach you that says who you are, what you do, who's it for. Google Business Profile, it's a 10-minute jobber to spin up. CRM or database, okay? There's a couple tools down there which I guess I should probably take off the prerequisites only because CRMs have a tendency to complicate things when they don't need to be. And that's another symptom of, software solutions acting like a magic bullet. A CRM is not going to get you more sales. Using a CRM properly will get you more sales by doing nurturing, by doing lead follow-up, by using proper notations, all these things. I know some businesses who use an Excel sheet as a CRM and are extremely profitable because it's all they need. Because their deal pipelines are very simple. And in some ways, in real estate, they're kind of simple too. You just have a couple simple stages. They didn't contact you back, they're not interested, they're not qualified, or follow back up with them, or buy or die. Few pipeline stages. But the more intricate a CRM, the better follow-up processes you can make. And then with that, you got some autoresponder type stuff where spend a little time up front, putting in nurturing sequences, ringless voicemail, SMS text messaging, email, mixed with manual touches, and you're able to hit a prospect dozens of times without even thinking about it. And that the sales process goes with that. You got to have a sales process. And, a couple of the gentlemen in this room have talked about sales processes before, including Bill Steiner. I try to refer back to some of your lessons when it comes to a sales process. Sometimes for myself, it's something I'm lacking. Got a bunch of follow-ups in my own CRM that are waiting to get called back. And you can't get the sale if you don't do the ask, right? And same thing when we're talking acquisitions, it's just a reverse process. You need a contract. You're the buyer, but it's the same thing. Ad accounts. Again, if you're doing organic, not necessary, but I'm going to show you some really, really cost-effective and, to put it mildly, dirt cheap way of doing advertising. So have a Google ad account, have even a Meta ad account, right? So you can just run some very strategic paid media ads. Direct mail. Used to be a way more complicated process. You'd have to have a minimum of 500 pieces, this, that, and the third. Now we've got tech, tools, and vendors where you can send out one piece of mail in a single campaign to a single person in a way that's completely automated. So we're going to show you who that vendor is, and it's a complete must-have because now we're in an era, everything's digital. Everything's digital. So if everything's digital, that means people are kind of getting a little fatigued on what they see. They get a little something in the mail, you can take a look at it. Then they'll probably throw it out. But if they get something in the mail that looks a little different, maybe a little lumpy mail we call it, they're going to pay attention to that. Right? So it's, again, very low barrier to entry, which means anybody and everybody can do it. So you got to do it in a way that's better and stand out. A referral system, a must-have for every business. All right, referrals are always going to be your top converter because it's a direct proof of success from somebody else. It's them giving their blessing. Hey, work with this person, work with Steve, work with Bill, work with Pete, work with Missy, work with Glenn, work with Dennis. All right. No matter what I'm looking for, if someone gives me a direct referral, I'm probably going to them. However, as an informed buyer, a skeptical buyer, one who's going to do my research and diligence, I'm going to look and make sure they got at least a couple of these in mind. Website, Google Business Profile, some sort of presence that I know they're legitimate. So really, without any of these pieces, the whole thing can theoretically fall apart. But yeah, referrals, very powerful for that reason. And second, all right, it's very specific context to real estate investor marketing. It's because in any given geographic area, we're going to always recommend that you have a very specific buy box and target audience, which means any two people now operating in the same area, you should be targeting different audiences and cooperating and feeding each other referrals. Now, yes, in Pennsylvania, you can only pay for referrals from one licensed real estate agent to another, wink, wink. So how that referral is monetized thereafter, I do not know, I do not care. It could be a line item advertising expense. That's all I'm going to say. But it's absolutely crucial because it's really a referral is contingent on the transaction. And you don't get a better ROI than that, ever. And of course, multiple and unique exit strategies for every single contract possible for your target audience. Meaning, all right, so maybe you're a wholesaler. Maybe you come across a couple deals where a person's ready to let go of their property, but it's not typically the type of profit you would want to make on it. Or I'm sorry, maybe you're a flipper and it's not the type of profit you'd want to make on this property. But Steve, you could refer to Glenn, and Glenn will pay you your agent referral fee, and now you just monetized a transaction that you may have skipped before, all right? And thus makes any advertising expense self-liquidating. B, keeps the cash flowing for you to quickly move on to the next big whale project. Just one case in point there. And Glenn, you would do the same thing, right? Right, Glenn?
Yeah, I'm self-done, so.
Yeah. The next section is when real estate marketing fails to scale. All right, so you see all these? Bandit signs, we buy houses, cash for houses, we buy houses, let us down. Need to sell your house fast? That's not a solution. That's not really customer and prospect focused. That's good for you. Sure, I buy houses, I'll do it all day long. But you're dealing with potentially distressed properties, distressed people, emotional people, and we buy houses is not tactful. It's not good bedside manner. It is not, it's really not a value proposition. It's an end to a means, but it's diluted. So it's not tactful, it's diluted. Everybody puts up those signs, and when everybody's doing something, nobody stands out. And yeah, some of the gurus will tell you, oh, just go put up your bandit signs that say we buy houses. The other problem with that is a company called webuyhouses.com. I know one of the, well, not the owner, but he's a top level manager of that company. All right, their most genius move is buying the domain webuyhouses.com and issuing a marketing license that anybody in any area can use. Now, fortunately, I have a client, we have a client, Missy and I have a client who has specified zip codes in this area for webuyhouses.com. So he's good. Anybody else, you put up a sign that says we buy houses in this area, you know what you're doing? You're feeding him traffic and leads. Sorry, they got there early. They made a good brand called webuyhouses.com. Now, anytime you're a wholesaler or a property acquisition person, specialist, they may theoretically think of you as we buy houses. You're not. So come up with something different and better. Strong brand is something that somebody's going to remember. It solves a very particular problem. Even if the end result is, yes, you buying their house, that's okay. You've got a pathway to do so in a way that's valuable, creates a relationship, and makes you stand out, and therefore more referable. Niche down, stand out. Call me out on it, and there it is. So develop a unique value proposition. I'll do a few examples. And this works good in a few ways, because in any type of sales process, you're talking to a lot of people. And a lot of them are going to be disqualified. Not enough equity, they outright refuse to sell, they're in too much of an emotional state. There's more reasons than I can think of why a prospect may be disqualified. So all you got to do within your sales proposition or top funnel solution is give them some resources that can help them. Just help people. Just help people to your way to the top. Most real estate people I know have been in real estate for a while, or they have some other business that led them to get into real estate. Construction, security and construction. Any freaking business this can work in. Give them a solution to something, right? If their property's falling apart, give them 10 things you can do without pulling a permit, right? That's one of our examples later. It doesn't matter. I can't be too specific about it because the real estate investor, I need them in front of me so I can have them tell me what it is they do, and then we can create a solution that makes sense for an audience, right? And that allows you to create messaging that works for that particular prospect. 4-step formula. All right, and it hits different things. So the who, the why, the what, where, and what is your solution? The who, that's demographics. Demographics mixed with their current position, lifestyle, life event. The case in point is a tired landlord, or somebody in pre-foreclosure, or somebody who inherited a house that they don't know what to do with it. And maybe that person with the inherited house, maybe they're an 820 beacon, maybe beacon meaning credit score, it's car talk speak. Maybe they're an 820 credit score, they got equity in the house, they just don't want it. All right, that means you probably don't lowball them, offer them seller financing, whatever. Still get your discount on it, but you approach it in a different way than somebody who is literally about to lose a house and share sale. Buy box criteria. Again, that's why in my mindset of abundance, I say any two wholesalers or real estate investors can land in the same exact area if they have two different buy boxes. Even better if they got two different audience niches with two different buy boxes. Even just strictly separating commercial from residential. All right? Now you're cooperating with everybody in Central and North Jersey who is doing single family homes, because maybe you'll take some, but for the purpose of my demonstration, you're saying, no, Good Vibes Real Estate only wants storage units and warehouses. So therefore, single family homes, we're sending them to Dennis, right? And then he gives you the referral fee. Cool, now you guys are cooperating in the same area. There's no competition, only cooperation, thus building up both of your brands, through the halo effect. The where, that's pretty much zip code, go by postal code or county. And then the solution, how can you fix their problem? And that's where I get really into how you, the investor, what's your disposition, and what the term creative financing always comes up now. All right, and I always like to position that as an actual valuable solution for somebody who that's their property. It's the opposite of sales marketing. You're trying to relieve them of their property by turning it into an asset for them, turning it into a liquidation. How are we going to go about that? And that really depends on those other factors and what you are able to do. So what are your value adds? The ones you can rattle off the top of your head: quick cash closing, no hassles, free clean outs. Maybe a little deeper. What if we can offer downsizing? What if we can offer replacement? Replacement. What am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Relocation, yeah, relocation assistance. Maybe we got an attorney that works here. I don't know. Maybe we do some title work. Doesn't matter. Dig within your own pockets, your assets you've got, your team, and come up with something that another entity's not doing. Put that as part of your value adds, and therefore now you have a completely unique offer that nobody else has. And your brand centers around that. So let's compare a good brand with a crappy brand. And I'm sorry if that's anybody's brand here, but I Will Buy Your House for Cash in New Jersey is a terrible brand name. Good Vibes Real Estate Solutions, great brand name. It says a lot. It really says a lot. First of all, it says solutions. All right? And that was before we even spoke. And I said everything should be solutions based. I know you didn't go back in there and create a new logo. You already had that done. So you're already doing Investor Dealflow even before we met. Good Vibes Real Estate Solutions. That just on the surface just tells you, you know what, this is good. I want to work with this person because they're not an aggressive finance bro looking to come buy my house for 40 cents on the dollar. I mean, maybe if that's what you do at the end of the day, fine. But you're going to hold their hand the way there. And I know people on your team always on the phone offering solutions before you're even making the ask. And that's what people want. People don't want to be sold or to be sold to. They want solutions. Add value, create solutions, the deals will come. That's the surface level right there. So from a branding perspective, you can be solutions forward. This is a client of mine, Florida Home Buyer Solutions. Look them up. That LLC is like 5 months old. Around the time when a certain hurricane happens, they're a Philly-based investor. They saw an opportunity to spend some marketing, spend some time in Florida, and buy up a bunch of storm damaged homes. That people were either underinsured, they didn't feel like dealing with anymore. They actually specifically targeted vacant homes, storm damaged vacant homes in whatever county Miami's in. Dade County, thank you. That's it. There's 3 niches down right there. We created a really quick brand around it. Florida Home Buyer Solutions, cool, whatever. And it worked. Did some deals, and they got out of there. Solutions forward branding. Another type of branding and niching. Hopefully you recognize some of these people. They're our clients. We Buy Any House Fast. That's where I met Missy. They are a community-driven brand. Okay. Yes, solutions first. However, the joke of the day sign. That is what they are known for in the Lower Bucks area. Glenn? What are they known for? The joke of the day sign. See, honk if you missed us? Okay. Got it. You should probably sit closer then instead of, because now you're sitting in the back of the class, I'm going to pick on you. This brand is they're known for their joke of the day. Something that Missy has been doing for them for years. Creating cute little dad jokes that go on the sign, wholesome, makes everybody feel good. But
That's me. Yeah.
They don't, we'll put a little self-advertising branding on there, branded ads, but everything else is community driven, supporting other local businesses, supporting Girl Scout cookies, supporting Toys for Tots. Those are the things that this business is known for. And they get, without even question, a referral every month just because, oh yeah, you're the sign people, we know you. Brand awareness, top funnel. No direct attribution in marketing other than this is our brand and we like to help people. Moving along. So you can do both or any combination thereof. Create your solution. Be abundant in the community. I have some gifts for everybody. Since I am a fan of abundance, at the end of this presentation, you will receive a few gifts. One is you will get my ebook, our ebook, basically how to create your niche and be micro famous within your niche. All right, back to the problems and solutions. We talk about funnels a lot in sales and marketing. Basically, somebody goes into the funnel, and until they're coming out the bottom end, where is the sale? Everything in there is conversions. On top of these bullet points, something to be noted about the funnel in present day, 2025 contemporary marketing. A lot of sales and marketing people think that pathway is linear. It is not. People sometimes fall out, and you got to put them back in. And there's been no conversions. Sometimes people get stuck to the side. You got to come in there with an auger and scrape them out. And we do that with strategic digital retargeting. We do it with manual outreach. We do it with blast campaigns. Combination of digital and out-of-home marketing. To do that, you gotta build trust. Can't say that enough. People buy from those they like, know, and trust. Now that I'm looking at this slide, it's a lot of words. What I really just wanted to say is the phrase, the motivated seller, as it's used by sales and marketing gurus, annoys the crap out of me. Because when they say, oh, get motivated seller leads right now, well, they're really talking about the same stuff that we've already talked about. People in pre-foreclosure, share of sale, probates, obituaries, tax liens, mechanics liens, whatever. They didn't pay their bills, they got vacant properties, they're motivated seller. How many of those people are actually motivated? What person who's in foreclosure wants to sell their house? The answer is none. So I maybe coined it. I don't know. I searched it on Google Trends and ChatGPT. I asked, is pre-motivated seller a thing? Because I know how I want to describe it. Apparently, it's not widely used, so I'm coining it the pre-motivated seller. What that means is people who probably should be selling their house, the people you want to buy their house from, you have to find a way to identify them, create a relationship with them, put them into your nurturing process, create value, give them solutions, and buy their house. Or not. But you've given them some tools and resources in the meantime where all their friends and family when it is time for them to sell their house, they say, you know what? I remember Good Vibes. Yeah. Or, man, my cat peed in my house. I should probably go sell it to Bill Steiner. That is a brand forward niche. What's the phrase? If it smells like cat pee, it's for me.
There's a fire on
Smells
the
like pee, it's for me.
One says if it's on fire, I'm a buyer.
That's still
If it had a fire on your buyer.
He didn't brand it, I stole the shit out of it all over Philly.
Got it. As your marketing agency, that would have been good information to know.
To what? To use that?
To use your tagline, yeah. Yeah. And that's
And no credit though, everybody thinks it's great. I do say I didn't invent it though. I just want to put that out there.
Man, use it. Use it, brother.
Use it or lose it. But that's also a good reference point. It does all start with you as the brand, like where any marketing direction goes. And as your marketers, we're only able to do our job as efficiently as we can if you give us all the information we can possibly have. Even if it's we discard some of the information. It's very important, very important. So what makes somebody pre-motivated? Life situations, we talked about that. Divorce, bankruptcy, loss of job, loss of limb. I don't know, it could be any number of things. Then you get to the property itself. Where we talk about mechanic liens, tax issues. Didn't pay your water bill for many, many years, like the property I acquired 13 months ago. That had a $7,000 water bill on it. I didn't have to deal with it, but look at it, go, whoa, okay. That was somebody who at some point was pre-motivated and then became motivated. I didn't have anything to do with that process. I just happened to find it at the end stage because the investor-focused agent who was selling the property had already gotten to that point. Financial pressures kind of ties back in. If you can't afford to pay for the house, you probably need a solution. And emotional attachments, foreclosure is always going to be a good reference point for that. Nobody wants to lose their house. But if you create a solution rather than just going in and lowballing, okay, especially somebody facing financial pressures. Say you're making, somebody's making 6 G's a month and now they're only making 3. They still got income. So that's somebody you want to do a relocation service with, all right? Just, kind of on a high level of how you can offer a solution without insulting them. And without chasing them away. Or even if you do buy their property, they don't think you're a total a-hole because you came in and did it. We're breaking the stigma of flippers and wholesalers is what we're doing here. Now that I am one, I kind of want to give us a good name. I bring more gifts, everybody. More gifts. This is how to create a powerful, no-brainer offer. Well, if we're talking about stealing taglines and catchphrases, well, I stole this from another business. That business is called Conversion Chemistry. It is the marketing mastermind I run. So I rebranded my powerful, no-brainer offer for Investor Dealflow because it's the same thing. You want to solve somebody's problem, whether it's relocation, whether it's giving them seller financing options. Doesn't matter what it is, you're giving them a way out. And that's going to help you do that. It's going to ask you a couple questions. It's a guide and a worksheet about your target audience. If you don't know your target audience, we have another worksheet for that. Hint, there's another gift. It's going to help you define that and what sort of offer may resonate with that target audience. Well, there's our value adds list. Well, good, because I didn't have them all on the top of my head. For consultations, flexible payment options. I think I did get them all, plus a few more, right? Relocation. We didn't have relocation on there. We're going to add that.
Add what?
We're going to add relocation. That was the one where my tongue was tied and Dennis stepped up. Well, we want to talk about a solutions first way to reach people. Yeah, no, I think that guy got deported. Yeah, this guy got deported.
You didn't go on Camaro.
In Guadalupe Bay.
Yeah.
But all joking aside, this is a prime example. This is a pro form example of being able to offer solutions before you're even talking to people. All right, Glenn knows everything that the one human can possibly know about building codes, L&I permits, and what to do and what not to do when it comes to that. And you, property owner, value adds you can do without having to pull permits. Glenn does that as here's my free gift. Here's my free gift. Gets people on his radar, gets people on his list. And this is 100% organic. Then when you're ramping up your marketing, you take that list and you target those people 2 different ways. One, you call them up. It's not really a cold call. They opted into your list. Whether they're qualified or not is a second story. 2, you can use that data to retarget them. Worst case scenario, you ask for a referral. But you got a starting point. You're not going cold. You're not doing a spray and pray. And to set something up like this, anybody can do it. Barrier of entry is very low. Free gift to somebody with your knowledge just distilled into something that they can take with them, whether physical or digital. This is one we did with the We Buy Any House people. A little preface to this. One of the co-owners of that company, as one of the best creative solutions minds that I've encountered in real estate investing, and has more ideas and inputs on a daily basis, like that puts probably all of us to shame. Like just with like ways to go, but like let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. And I value that as a marketer, because a lot of clients sit there, you gotta beat them with everything to get something out of them. Because then they want us to come up with everything. But I myself as a marketer, I like to work with people who are absolute masters of their craft and just need some assistance connecting that mastery with their end buyer, with their end prospect. All right. And I can't learn everything that everybody in this room knows about their particular industry and craft. I can't do it. I'm interested in all of it, but it's not incumbent upon me to do that. You have to tell me what it is you do and how you do it, come up with some ideas, and then we're going to put it into a strategy that people want to use. That's what we do. So anyway, a few years ago, he came up with this really a domain and a sub-brand called the Foreclosure Relief Group. The idea was giving foreclosure guides and resources to people in pre-foreclosure to build trust, to give them value, and if they get to that point of share of sale, make them an offer. But at that point, you've got it along the way. And they actually have some testimonials and reviews and case studies of actual clients who they were actually able to help without buying their house. Sent them to HAMP loans, sent them to government assistance programs where they got back on their feet. Didn't make any money off the deal, but now they've got 5 brand ambassadors who will refer them for anything because they basically saved their home. And that's, you can't advertise your way to that type of solution. Problem was when we got involved, Missy and I, with the Foreclosure Relief Group, doing some creative mailings, advertising strategies, took a look back, said, everything's pointing back to We Buy Any House Fast. And just had that light bulb moment of, well, that's just completely wrong messaging at the wrong time, isn't it? So this is a great idea. But when you send somebody that little ebook or even a physical book, oh, this is great. Let me go to their website. We buy any house fast. What? I'm not ready to sell my house. Total disconnect at parts of the funnel. So a recent project we completed was creating actually 2 entire separate ecosystems with their brand, where everything on this foreclosure side stays on the foreclosure side until, through nurturing, it's determined that, yes, this person needs to sell their house. Then the brand segregation becomes absolutely immaterial. But, I just want to give you a little sample of, hopefully, I'm going to try to play a video. I was really proud of that video. Some other time, maybe. All right, well, sorry about that. We made a nice video about it. All right. One of the other old way problems. This is particularly going back to like We Buy Houses or Google searches. I want to sell my house fast. The efficacy is diminishing. Because these right here, Glenn, come on up. These are big numbers. Per click. $65 per click.
Oh my God.
61, 85, 70, sell house, $44 per click. And Pete, we're gonna have a little discussion about SEO and paid keywords and stuff like that, because that kind of ties into it. That's how much it costs to get the top spot in Google for each one of those words. So you can see how competitive that is. And per click. Per click. So you know what that means, right? We'll do a little, I think I showed the math here. Oh yeah, okay. So we'll say $2,000 budget. Going with 75 is one of the averages on there. And a 20% conversion rate on a landing page, good luck with that right off the rip. And we are absolute masters at creating that. You're talking maybe 15% on a good day after months of optimization of highly segregated campaigns. So that 20 is a bit inflated just to show still how hard it is to get leads from that particular lead source. So we'll say, what do you got? 5 leads generated on a $2,000 budget. And again, I'm just taking industry averages. Maybe your appointment set rate is 90%. That's awesome. The higher you can make that, the more success you'll have. But my scope is not sales training. So I will say go to Bill Steiner and Larry Steinhaus for that. So we got, what, 2.5 appointments. 1.8 of them show up. Who knows? Maybe you have 100% sit rate. I don't know, which means 100% offer rate on your appointments. But you're basically getting one deal out of $2,000. That's not good enough for us. Our averages are, we try to keep it around a G for acquisition costs. So, we have a different way of going about things. We do retargeting, and a lot of it. And those are very, very small words. So I will share this, this with everybody in PowerPoint or Canva when we're done. But the way it works is we create our target audience based on demographics, behaviors, locations, our buy box. We find that list. And instead of just buying keywords, we can put that list systematically, programmatically, into Google, into Facebook. Target only those people for 40 cents to $1.20 per click. Now, we know it's still lower intent. You know, theoretically, somebody typing in, I need to sell my house. That's probably the highest intent you can get, but it still doesn't take into account full intent of that keyword. Maybe they're a tire kicker, maybe they're a competitor looking at your brand, and now you just spent $75 on a competitor looking you up. Google supposedly has mitigation against that. I trust it as far as I could throw a Google server. What I do know is that the cost per click efficacy of retargeting on the Google Display Network, on the Meta Ads Network, which is Instagram and Facebook, with creative graphic video and messaging of a particular solution that resonates with that audience at the particular time, creates a ton of web traffic. So, a ton of web traffic, even at 10% conversion rate, you see where I'm going with this. The cost per lead is now down to $30, $40, $50 instead of $300, $400, $500. Some of the leads are disqualified or not qualified, but that's okay. You're still getting a higher volume. So why wouldn't you do this all day, every day? And with that, there's specific ways that we run our ads, even with 2 simultaneous campaigns within an ad set. And if I'm getting a little too technical, too bad. Try to keep up. You're running 2 ads simultaneously. We'll make a change to this one and not to this one. A little scientific A/B testing. And we do that using industry best practices, historical data, and then sometimes you get creative. So you know if you have 2 campaigns running simultaneously exactly the same, maybe you change the photo or video on this one. One of them will perform better than the other. At that point, you ramp this one up, you scale this one back. Then you do it again. You A/B test your way to success. That's pure science. Some of it is qualitative. Some videos, some graphics, some copy, some words perform better than others. But sometimes we don't know what works going into it. So we take our best guess and then eliminate the lower performing one and build upon it. And it's self-referential because, oh, this is a cool one too. All right, this is another little bonus I put in because I kind of just remembered it since I'm using it for 2 clients. It's very low-cost TV advertising. TV ads. You used to have to pay a film company a couple G's to make you a little commercial. Then you'd go call Comcast or call Verizon, call a local network. They'd put you into a 3-month contract for a $10,000 a month and put you on a 2 a.m. infomercial. I don't know, it's kind of just old school stuff. We've got platforms now that we're using, $50 a day. So if you include the cost of creating a video, we'll just say $2,000 a month. Put you on any damn network you want. Everything's streaming. You set your budget. You set what channels you want it to go on, what time of day, what demographics. You can set it to only retarget those people that you're already prospecting and have already visited your website and have already called you. You can tap it into your CRM. People who have entered your CRM and have not converted, you can feed them with a very specific ad. Dirt cheap. Dirt cheap means 2 things. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. So you have to make something that looks better and resonates better, is my point with that. But it's there, it's accessible. Anybody can do it. It's as easy as running a Facebook ad. And with that, more gifts. What we're giving out is the playbook for our Google pay-per-click advertising, which goes everything I just talked about, search ads versus retargeting ads, and even PMAX, which is the newest version of Google Ads, and meta retargeting, meta targeting. So that is Facebook and Google. Facebook and Instagram, which you manage through the Meta Business Suite in Ad Account. Stuff we use as an agency. Congratulations, everybody who didn't show up today. The rate just went from free to $20,000. Glenn will pay your bill. So, we talk a lot about CRMs, sales processes, targeting, mailing. The old way, the way a lot of people still do it, is spray and pray. Working in the car industry, always heard salespeople, oh, I called them and they didn't pick up, so they must not be a lead anymore. Call them once, huh? At 8 a.m. when you sat, no, 8 car dealership, no, 10 a.m. when you sat down at your desk with your coffee and donuts. No, sir. You're going to need multiple touch points. And this 8 to 12, that is specifically somebody who's already entered your CRM. You've already made some sort of contact with. We're talking 8 to 12 touch points before they create a meeting with you. Yeah, we've had, one-sit closings, straight up lead to appointment to closing within a matter of days in a linear path. It's not the norm. That's the outlier. We create that pathway as smooth as possible for somebody who is willing. You show them the way and hand them the pen. But that's not going to be most people. That 48 and 25%. Those are statistics I got from HubSpot. All right, they are in a multi-billion-dollar CRM company with more data than I would ever know what to do with. So these are legit statistics. And this one's really putting right there, 25% after only one follow-up. So, hey, we're going to set our CRM up before we even start making calls to have automations for texting, ringless voicemail, email nurturing campaigns. Top of mind. It's pretty basic setup, pretty high level. But it has to be done because it works. It gets people back top of mind for you. And then that kind of also refers back to the retargeting as well. $75 for one click, or $75 for, carry the one, 300 clicks. Now you're hitting that person over multiple networks.
So you said if you're targeting people from a specific list that you created, that you put together, it's 40 cents to $1.50, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like as far as impressions? Right? Because if somebody saw my stuff, said, okay, these guys buy houses, they keep seeing the ads, it pop so that them seeing the ad has value without them even clicking on it again.
You are going to be a spokesperson for my company now, because I'm leaving impressions out very specifically, because there is that sort of non-attributable brand recognition aspect of marketing that it's intangible. They say what, 21 impressions to recognize a brand or something like that. Most clients don't want to hear about that. They want to see conversions. So I kind of leave that part out, but I'm really glad you brought it back up, which means that there are those that care about it because it actually is effective.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if they keep seeing my ad and they remember my company name, right, eventually when they are ready to sell, they might not have the ad in front of them to click on it. But they're going to go to Google and type in my company name and hit the little call button.
Stephen Chatham, I'm bringing you to every one of my client meetings, to every single presentation I do from here on out, because I almost got to the point where I stopped explaining that because they're like, well, how do you prove it? Well, you don't.
Yeah, you
Unless
can't.
they come in and say, I saw these ads, this billboard, and you there. Like, even the billboard stuff, it's the same as a billboard, all right? People saw stuff, and then they know they saw it. Thousands to hundreds of thousands on retargeting, because a good retargeting ad has like a 2% interaction rate, meaning 2% of people who see it, well, that's on Google. You would hit like 5 to 10% on Facebook. 2% will click it. That means they're scrolling on their app, they're on their gambling website. Ooh, good vibes. Let's see what they're about. 2%. And that 2% that's what's getting you the 75 cents to $1.50 per click. So the impressions, hundreds of thousands within a monthly budget of like $2,000. Hundreds of thousands. But they're not as powerful impressions as a billboard. That's a fact. But there's a subliminal effect, and the aggregate of that brand recognition, absolutely hundreds of thousands. Cool. And then that's referenced also back with the TV commercials and streaming. 2 cents an impression. Again, a lot of people ignore it, but subliminally they heard it.
And that just also like really makes me think how important the brand is, because like I saw an ad for something like that's interesting. Cannot for the life of me remember the name of the company. Like, so unless they serve up that ad when I'm ready to do something like what they're talking about, which to me was very interesting, like I'm just going to go to Google and say, hey, what companies do this?
Well, if they're doing it better, then it should be still popping up on all your devices.
Yeah, I've been seeing them recently,
Yeah.
but again, they come and go depending on, I guess, whether or not they're getting a return and they stop.
There's that, yeah. I mean, they have their own budget too. And, you know, the platforms also decide what to feed up and when. Whatever you're scrolling, something else you're searching for that particular day, maybe you're looking at Jeeps, right? Maybe you're looking at some, you're going to buy a couple bottles of Rhino Coat for your Jeep. And suddenly, whatever the other brand you were looking at doesn't matter. Now you're going to be getting Rhino Coats and Plastic Dip and Rough Country all coming up on your feed, because that's what's relevant at the time. So that's, we're competing with other industries too. So, but yes, the memorable, powerful brands, two businesses doing the same thing, the same way, with the same quality, the stronger, more powerful brand is going to be the one that wins.
How much of that brand is visualization? That color scheme?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. I don't think I have a solid answer for it. Because my answer would be, well, to a blind person, nothing. And what does the song 800-588-2300 Empire? That doesn't mean anything to a deaf person.
Huh?
I said the jingle 800-588-2300 Empire Carpet.
Yeah,
That doesn't mean anything to a deaf person because they can't hear it. So I don't know. I don't know if there's an answer about, I'm not an artist. I should put Missy on the spot as the graphic designer. No, I don't think you know that answer either. That's actually a very good question, and I kind of want to do a deeper dive on that.
There's one that does it.
Yeah.
The visual appeal registers.
It does. It does. I just don't know if it's something that can be quantified.
Right.
I mean, look, everything tactile can be not measured, but like assessed as brand potency. We got new business cards made up for Investor Dealflow, and I got feedback on it yesterday. And the guy who was giving me feedback, he goes, "This card's driving me crazy," because we did 2 rounded corners and 2 square corners. So I felt like doing something different. But that actually was very important feedback to me. I said, the more you keep talking about it, touching it, and looking at it, I said, I can't buy those impressions anywhere. I said, you can't stop thinking about my card. So now I caught me with my pants down here. I don't have an answer on percentages and application of visual versus auditory, like what the different senses are. I know it makes impact.
Well, not even not even to quantify it, but, do you think it means anything?
It does.
Are
It
those
does.
colors more appealing? And it pulls them on, you know what I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like red means passion, and blue is more calming. Yellow means you're hungry or something like that. We try to make the brand kit speak to the target audience. If that makes sense to you. So here's a couple numbers on standard number of touches you want to hit both through automations and manual outreach in a 30-day process. Yeah, it kind of depends on your budget, depends on your staff, but you can set that up in minutes. Most of the time it's going to be spent doing manual outreach after the initial setup of these automations and campaigns. Because all of the digital retargeting, that's all happening on the background. That's happening right now. The email, text, follow-ups happens in two ways. One is you pre-programmed. You set up some flows in your CRM. It says 5 days later, they get this email if they didn't respond. If they didn't respond but didn't commit to an appointment, they get that email. You make some little swim lanes out of it from a flow chart, type of visualization. And that's it. You spend time in the front end loading that up. It takes care of itself. Yes, you want to go back and revisit it, look at statistics, see, maybe this one doesn't sound as good as we thought it did to that target audience. Change the creative. But it doesn't matter because you already have that template set up. You just change the template. It's no different than changing your ads every couple of months. Not who you're targeting, but the things you're saying to them. So that way, the most manual is going to be the most time consuming will be the manual outreach. Ringless voicemail, we're kind of ramping that up a little bit and using that to be kind of working side by side with the text messaging, just on different days. Really just for pattern and cognitive dissonance disruption. A lot of CRMs will be like, all right, day 3, send them a call, text, and email. Now we'll call them on day 3. They'll get an email day 5, and day 6 they'll get a ringless voicemail. Hopefully they call you back. If they don't, send them a text message. Play around the cadence only for pattern disruption. Yeah, some of your internal data will, expose patterns of best practices you should be doing, but qualitatively, pattern disruption creates more engagement. If for no other reason, then it's something different that another business is doing.
You can geoposition all that, right?
Have to.
Right?
Not only that,
Like
and
type,
my little free guides that I know you're not going to read, you're just going to text me and ask about them.
Are you going to free? Are you going to give it to them free or I got to buy it?
You got to buy them twice.
Oh, then?
Yeah.
Then I'll
Yeah.
buy it. I still won't read it.
Glenn Guadalupe, who's actually a customer of the Investor Dealflow.
Did I buy that?
Yeah, of course you can.
All you got to do is upload the PDFs into Notebook LN.
How do you think I made them in the first place? I just narrated. I narrated all this crap that's in my mind.
How tight would you position? Neighborhoods, zip code, whatever?
So this is interesting because when I exported from Canva to PowerPoint, it really messed up my little spider web here. That's why we should quality test everything.
Oh, I thought there was a point to it being all messed up.
The lines are supposed to be not angled. They're all supposed to be vertical and horizontal, either 180 or 90 degrees. But it kind of mostly works. That's kind of
That looks like a typical wholesale deal.
Yeah, well, it's not wrong. So this really is putting it all together. It's not technically wrong. I just got to clean. That's funny. I think every time somebody exports a PowerPoint to something else, or they make it in Canva, export it to PowerPoint, make it in Google Slides, export to PowerPoint, something gets messed up. Anyway, this is what it starts with. This is sort of the prospecting part. You're going to find your list. You're going to pull your lists. You're going to curate the data in a meaningful way to a target audience. That's your demographics, your psychographics, your buy box, your geographic area. You're going to send them mail. At the same time, you're going to send that list to the ad networks and retarget them. Hopefully, they go to your landing page or call you up. They do that. They either opt in or hopefully they call you. At that point, they go into your CRM. Then it gets wild because now they're getting fed a different set of ads because they're lower in the funnel. You have that CRM pipeline right into the ad networks. Feed them up a different ad. Now you got some manual outreach. Whether it's you, whether it's your staff, whether it's your VA, you're calling them. You're trying to figure out what's going on, do some discovery calls, give them some solutions, make them an offer. Make them an appointment, make them an offer. Get them at the table. So that's the big touch point there. Everything until that point, nurturing, retargeting, remarketing through your CRM. Call, text, email, ringless voicemail. Bam, bam, bam. We're still going to get some retargeting ads up there. Buy or die. Either they're going to keep ignoring the ad, and Google will say, we're not going to show them that ad anymore. Or they're going to opt out of all your stuff, and that's fine. You don't want to waste any ad money on people who are not interested or not qualified. So some of it is manual, and some of it is algorithmically driven. And then, we have automations that feed from the CRM into the ad networks that say, yeah, these people clicked on the thing and converted. Therefore, me, the algorithm, I'm going to determine that this other set of people, we're going to do things to this ad, show them in specific ways, different networks, different apps, that because these factors are like these factors, we're going to show them the ad more because that person clicked on it, and not show it to this set of people who ignored it. And that's just programmatic advertising. We do the best we can to understand it. We don't because I didn't write the algorithm. But what I do know is that it works based on feedback loops. Good conversions are fed back into the network feedback loop, meaning people who converted, whatever their factors are. And that, it goes deep. The data goes very deep. It's more than just location and situation, but where they're searching, what they're searching, why, and what times, why you're getting Jeep ads, if you click on it, somebody else's, whatever your factors are, they're going to try to replicate. They, being the ad networks, are going to try to replicate for every other user. So the better data you have and the more connections you have, the better results you're going to get, thus lowering your lead cost and your acquisition cost the entire way. And then, of course, there's the mighty referral. That's the one we want to keep getting. So, yes, contract leads to a referral. Referral goes right into the CRM. And traditionally, what does somebody do when they get a referral? They call them, maybe log them in, and that's it. Now, our system, as soon as they get into the CRM, bang, retargeting ads. It didn't exist 10 years ago. People are barely doing it now because they're not doing it properly. But you're giving automated advertising to somebody who just handed you a referral card. Imagine that. Now they can see your ad on TV. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do it. And there's not enough doing it because the pay-per-click companies only care about pay-per-clicks. The design companies only care about a nice logo. The landing pages only care about your landing page. SEO, for another time, SEO only cares about selling SEO. More gifts. Some of you may have already seen this in a different iteration. This is the Investor Dealflow, created by Dan Jones, Missy Jones, not related. The 5-minute marketing plan is an AI-driven tool to give you your next 5 best things you should do with your marketing mix. Meaning, whatever your next goal is, if it's just simply brand awareness, what can we do to your logo? What can we do to the wording? What can we do to the colors to make it pop better? If you want to show up in more display networks, how are we going to do that? It asks you the questions. Very basic. Who's your target audience? What are you doing now? What do you think's working? What do you think's not working? And our AI app gives you your next 5 wins without having to consult with anybody. And this is one I thought of very recently. Real estate, we love doing everything without our own money, don't we? We love using other people's money. Well, friends, the same can be applied to real estate marketing. You can theoretically, in practice, use business credit, 0% credit cards, my friends at NB Capital Solutions. Thanks for that $70,000 today, by the way. Me and Glenn are going to go buy property with it. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you use the same principle for buying advertising? Spend $5,000 in advertising, defer the payment until your revenue is realized. Now, sure, I mean, if you're a wholesaler or a flipper, there's a timeline on that. If you're buy and hold, well, your ROI and your returns are a little bit more complex, but the same principle applies. You defer the payment of that advertising until the revenue comes back in. Pretty simple, pretty simple. Also, if you have a new ad account with the TV company Vibeco, with Google, brand new ad account, typically you get a $500 credit if you spend $500. So you basically get half price for your first month. And that's very, very, very crucial when running a new campaign, because in any given digital campaign, the algorithm spends time learning, which means it's not going to be running as efficiently in month 1 as it is in month 3. So it's almost doing its own market research in month 1. You can expect to get fewer conversions. That's just a given. There's no way around that. You know, it's the same like a billboard as the anachronistic example. Put up a billboard, it's going to be way more effective in month 3 than it is month 1, because at that point, more people have seen it and interacted with it. And those are my weapons right there. Amex, because, well, I get 0% cards from them all the time, and it does not show up in your personal credit profile utilization. And MB Capital Solutions, thought he was going to be here. Sorry, Nick, you're losing thousands of dollars of marketing advice right now. They get you funding, business funding, typically deferred interest, 0% credit cards, lines of credit simply off of your credit score, and your LLC, your business LLC. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just a big fan, which, case in point, does what? Means it's a good referral. Why does our stuff actually work? Right? I gotta prove that my stuff actually works. Well, one, I do it myself. I believe in it and trust it now that I'm an investor. I have clients that keep coming back, so therefore they would not come back if it did not prove itself out. But the most important parts is, unlike the PPC vendors, pay-per-click vendors, the SEO people, the Salesforce gurus, the Go High Level gurus. Let me do another presentation about Go High Level at some point, get on that soapbox. Those are all very platform specific. Our system is modular. As much as I love Print Genie went away tomorrow, we would use another mail house, and our same process would continue. We would use our data scraping tools, which there's any number of them. We have our preferred systems. We would send to a mail house. I will still go to Google, Facebook, TikTok maybe, if it kind of falls off the scrutinous radar. Not a very good ad platform right now, neither is Twitter, X. A lot of advertisers are pulling off of it. My point is that it's all modular. You go where the audience is. And any given audience is using a certain subset of apps, of publishing networks, advertising networks. The opportunities are endless. We just use the ones that are proven and most effective. I'm going to send that data to whatever ad network is performing at the time. CRMs, doesn't matter. It could be Salesforce, it could be an Excel sheet. You can set up an automation from one to go to one of the other networks. Data-driven, combines data-driven with the creative, with the qualitative. Because that's what people do. They buy from people they know, like, and trust. A strong brand outsells a weak brand. Good Vibes Real Estate, better than State of New Jersey Real Estate Property Acquisitions Company.com.org / moving to buy your house. So, the final gift. You all reach under your seats. You will find absolutely nothing at all, because there's nothing there. But you will all now get VIP access to the Investor Dealflow Marketing Hub. Glenn, I got bad news for you. It doesn't cost you anything.
I don't want it.
Yeah. You will want it. This is good stuff. So this is how you're going to get access to all the free gifts that I mentioned above. Not because we are cheap, but because we are lazy and do not feel like printing out books. And this stuff updates a lot. And I do like a good hard handheld takeaway or leave behind for people. However, stuff updates a lot. So we do update these. What you're getting when you join this hub, you're going to get all those ebooks we mentioned. So it's opening up the playbook of how we do things as a marketing agency. We're going to keep updating this stuff too. Right now, it's kind of minuscule. I mean, there's probably about $1,000 worth of stuff in there, but it's not where I want it to be. I want more. I want more stuff in there. It's got some templates, Canva templates you can use in your digital advertising. Use it on your website, use it in your ads. We've got some lead magnets. Lead magnets. That's a lead magnet right there. Right? I'm getting people into my CRM. But similar to the 5 home improvements you can do without a permit that we created for Glenn. That's a lead magnet. You put it out there for people who are interested. Very high funnel stuff. But I've got 4 or 5 of them in there right now that you can take and rebrand for your own real estate business. Take them, run with them. It's fine. Why am I doing this? Why am I giving this away? I'm teaching you how to do it. Isn't that potentially taking money away from me? Maybe. But I do believe in abundance. I believe that entrepreneurs should be empowered to do their own marketing. And I also believe in the oil change theory. Just because I know how to change my own oil doesn't mean I'm changing yours. I'm going to refer you to my oil change guy. And that is what I hope you do when you have success with this system, is that you refer. I know some DIYers when I see them, and that's why I give this stuff away. I'm not going to try to sell our premium done-for-you package to a DIYer, right? Although Glenn likes to buy nice and buy twice. Glenn's got the level of service that's sort of hybrid between DIY and totally done-for-you marketing. Because he's got Jose who can hand out flyers, right? That's a form of direct marketing. So we don't need to handle that for him. He has his own flyers. We make him a website. We do ads for him. But it's more of a consultative basis. So we do offer kind of all that stuff in between. But take that and run with it. Tell all of your investor friends that Dan and Missy got your back. That's it. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Any questions? Comments?
Yeah. So you can pick and choose the menu. I mean, so I'm skilled in some areas, not in all areas.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to do something myself, yeah, I'll do it myself, but I'm not an expert at maybe a web design or
Sure.
that kind of, or not a wordsmith, for lack of a better term. So that stuff that you would do in addition to, like, you sort of do.
We do offer it modularly. So like, we don't do sales training, but like, you may have some internal staff that you trust to do direct print marketing. So we're gonna recommend you go to our vendor, and we'll do a consultation and basically tell you how to do it. And if there's any pieces that are missing or you can't fulfill internally, we'll take over that part. And I guess to keep it more, if I'm talking to a broad audience that I don't know Dennis, what you can do is join our VIP Investor Marketing Hub and complete your 5-minute marketing plan, which I know you didn't do for my other business. We'll pretend you didn't. You can go into it with the same context. It's very similar, but has a lot of different parameters. And what that does, it allows you to grab a consultation with us via Zoom.
Okay.
And we'll do an assessment. We'll